What's happening everyone, TomGorian here, and welcome back to a brand new F123 video. Instead of doing the traditional career mode video today, I thought I'd do something different. I haven't done a challenge video yet on this channel, never mind this channel, but on F1 in general, so I thought today would be the perfect timing for me to do the 5 Tyre challenge. And if you don't know what that is, I have to pretty much use all 5 tyre compounds in one race. Now, I will be honest before we start this video that I have done this twice, just so I've got the right AI balance. Because usually when someone does this, they use no AI, 0% AI. I want to make this as hard as possible, so we're going to try and do the hardest circuit to do it on, Singapore, and we're also going to go around 45 AI difficulty. I think that is the highest AI difficulty you can go whilst getting away with this type of challenge. So we're going to be using Max Verstappen's Red Bull for today's video, and we're going to be using the relayed Singapore circuit. Obviously the Singapore Grand Prix is this weekend as of this recording, so this should be a very interesting video to do, and quite of a fun video as well, because I don't really do challenge videos on this channel. But if you like what you see, then hit the like button, which helps me and this video with the algorithm, and also subscribe to the channel for more F123 challenge content videos. So I'm just going into this video just looking for some fun. You know, I mean, why not? Why not do a race, a 35% race, where I have to do 5 pit stops in one race? So, can I win? Let's find out.
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix.
Welcome to Singapore Marina Bay, the home of the Rainbow Tyre Challenge. A challenge where I, TomGorian, have to use 5 tyre compounds, the softs, the mediums, the hards, the intermediates and the wets in one 35% race, and to try to see if I can win. As far as the strategy is concerned for this race, I've done this twice. I did this with no AI, and I also did this with like 25 AI, which is why I'm on 45 AI to see if I can still win on the hardest difficulty. But I don't really think there's a strategy with this race. But here we go for the 5 tyre compound challenge on F123 for 5 red lights, and away we go here in Singapore for the tyre challenge. It's a good start, predictably, as we head towards turn 1. And as of course we are on the soft tyres. So the main aim of this challenge is to do 5 pit stops, and you've got to use all 5 tyre compounds, and you've got to try and win the race. And we're going around Singapore because Singapore is this weekend. So we are Max Verstappen, and we're entering the main straight here at Singapore, and we're already in third place as we dive down the inside on Fernando Alonso. So speaking of the strategy for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the wet tyres first. I'm going to box. My first pit stop is going to be for the wet tyres, and then the second pit stop will be for the inters before I go on the hards. Most of the stint that I'll be doing in this race will be on the hard tyres. So at the end of lap 1, we've already built a 3-second gap, and we're going to come in for our first of 5 pit stops in this race. It's supposed to be 4, but you'll see that we actually do 5 to make sure that the challenge is completed. And we are going on the full wet tyres for this race. I've set the weather, it's on dynamic, but as you can tell, it's not actually night, it's actually sunset. And the time of the sunset is literally 5 times. So hopefully by the end of this race, it'll be full dusk night. But we're going to come in, we're going to come out, excuse me, on the full wet tyres, and surprisingly they don't really feel that bad. Of course you do, get a bit of a snap of oversteer every now and again in slow speed corners, but they don't actually feel that bad. But towards the end of the lap they did feel like kind of bad because of the tyre temperatures and stuff, and considering that I'm driving full wet tyres on a full dry Singapore circuit, as I lose the back end literally right there. And as you can see, look at the temperatures, 97% or 97 degrees on the rears. So we have to come in for our second stop, and we're going to just try and get these tyres out the way, one lap and one lap only, from the wets now to the intermediates. And look at the gap already between us and the AlphaTauris of Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo. Literally, with this pit stop, it's going to be around about, I'd say, 35 seconds. And yeah, we've got to literally try and make 35 seconds plus in, what, 15 laps of running? So the inters didn't feel that bad on the circuit compared to the full wets. I didn't really suffer that much with tyre temperatures. It was just trying to just get into the groove. But now, this is where our race actually begins. As you can see, we set a purple first sector with the intermediate tyres. So that's actually kind of insane how, you know, slow the AI are on 45 difficulty, even with intermediates. But now, our race begins. As you can see, Daniel Ricciardo, the gap between us and Daniel Ricciardo is over. It's going to be now over a minute, pretty much. So, to try and gain over a minute's worth of lap time in this track is going to be quite a challenge, as we do a 33.7, which is the fastest lap of the race so far, predictably. And as you can see, 46 seconds is the gap between us and Daniel Ricciardo as we head towards lap 8, and now the gap is literally 30 seconds. So the aim of this now is to try and get into a pit stops reach of Ricciardo, but the aim is not to try and overtake you know, Ricciardo and Ocon. It's to try and win this race, as now you've got Ocon, Zhou Guanyu, Daniel Ricciardo, George Russell also comes out on the mediums, and they are going to do one and only one stop as Russell goes defensive in towards turn 5, and we make the move around the outside. The reason why I actually went Max Verstappen, as actually we're going to actually do as a bit of a smart strategy. We're going to box now for the mediums, and just because we're just going to box now for the mediums, simply because of the AI not trying to undercut us. And technically, when you're on the mediums and when you're on the hards on this strategy, it's technically a kind of an undercut, if you will, because when I box for hards, we were doing an undercut on the older mediums, and now we are doing an undercut on everyone else who is on now on the soft tyres. Obviously, in a 35% race distance, the AI is, well, I wouldn't say the AI, but the tyre wear is definitely more increased for a 35% race, so they will go off faster, and especially with the soft tyres. As you can see, I'm overtaking Lewis Hamilton and also Daniel Ricciardo as we enter lap 13, and we are officially in the second half of this race, and surprisingly, we are just outside the top 10 as we absolutely send it on Esteban Ocon as we end lap 13. But as you can see by now, we are starting to close the gap on the likes of Stroll, Leclerc, Lando Norris, that train of cars ahead. And I think that's Perez in 4th. We go over the Anderson Bridge and we overtake Lando Norris. That was a very late move there, and he just gave us enough room there to overtake. And now we are in 4th place, and there you can see is the confirmation of all the tyres, softs, wets, inters, hards, now mediums. We have used all the tyres, and now we are now free to race towards the end of this race. Now, we're going to send it on our teammate, Sergio Perez, and yeah, I mean, the reason why I used Max Verstappen in this race is simply because this is the type of thing that Max would literally do in a Grand Prix weekend. You would definitely imagine Max stopping 5 times for all tyre compounds and still winning a race like this as we go around the outside of Fernando Alonso in towards turn 5, and now we are all over George Russell. However, I didn't notice this when I was doing the race. Russell is on the mediums, so I don't know if Russell was doing an alternate strategy or what, but we're actually going to make this challenge a little bit more difficult. As you can see, the gap is 18 seconds between us and Fernando Alonso, and to make sure we do this challenge properly, we're going to come in and box one last time for soft tyres, and that will easily take us to the end of the race. And as you can see, 2 laps of fuel left as we box 4 softs, and we do a hold slightly a bit, but that was a bit of a mistake. as we now come in towards the penultimate lap, and we are now all over George Russell, and we dive down the inside of the Mercedes. That is P2 in this race, which means Fernando Alonso is now the only car left to complete in this challenge, as we try and send it in towards the inside of this corner, and now on towards the relayed straight, the second straight of this racetrack. It's the final lap. Can we get Fernando Alonso? We're going to make a late move down the inside, and that's it. Job done. We have clipped the apex. We have overtaken Fernando Alonso. We have stopped 5 times in this race to change all 5 tyre compounds, and we're going to win the Singapore Grand Prix as Max Verstappen pitting 5 times. And as you can see, look at the time difference. We did a 33.1, and I think the fastest lap was a 38.5. So, well, that's 5 seconds quicker. Yeah, that was a fun video to drive. As you can see, there's classification. Started on softs, box for wets, inters, hards, mediums, and then again for softs, and we won on the final lap. And that is that. The 5 tyre challenge is completed. And yeah, that is job done as Max Verstappen. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more F1 23 challenge content, Hashtag Glory career mode, online content, and a whole lot more. I really enjoyed that video, really enjoyed that challenge. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next challenge video in a bit.